Hi, I'm Bridget, and thank you so much for joining me today for this Vinyasa Flow. So this is going to be a little bit of a tricky one, more so for the mind, because we're going to be going back and forth a little bit, but it's going to be really fun once we get the hang of it. So give it a go, and I'm sure you'll really enjoy it. So we're going to get started in our wide-legged child's pose today. So coming onto all fours first, we're going to walk the big toes together, bring the knees as wide as the yoga mat, and sink the hips down towards the heels, walk the arms out nice and long. You might like to stay up on the fingertips for a little bit deeper of a stretch into the shoulders, lowering the forehead to the mat, and then bringing the attention to the breath. So noticing how you feel here, checking in with the body, checking in with the mind. Feeling the body expand with every inhale and melt down towards your mat a little bit more with each exhale. Letting go of the day so far, and letting go of any expectations that you might have for yourself in this practice. Just showing up exactly as you are and knowing that that's okay. We're going to keep this connection with the breath throughout our practice today. Moving with awareness and intention. And then just keeping the eyes closed here, we're going to just inch by inch walk the hands over towards the left. Nice deep breath here. Exhale, melting down. And then we walk it back through center, inch by inch, moving nice and slowly. We walk the hands over towards the right. Nice deep breath in and exhale, we melt the body down. And then let's walk it back to center. And we'll make our way really nice and slowly to our tabletop. And give yourself a moment to set up in your tabletop. So we're stacking the shoulders above the wrists. Spread the fingertips really nice and wide here. And we're stacking the hip points above the knees. Maybe give the tops of the feet a little bit of a tap onto the mat. Draw the shoulders away from the ears here and almost drawing the front body up to meet the back. So drawing the belly button back to meet the spine. Leveling out through the spine, and then we're going to move through a few rounds of our cat-cow just to warm up the spine. So on an inhale, we're going to curl the tailbone up, drop through the spine, hug the shoulder blades back together, maybe look up, and then on an exhale, let's curl the tailbone under, round through the spine, and let the top of the head drop down towards the mat. And then moving back and forth with the breath here, so really slowing it down. Opening through the chest and the heart space. Exhale. We find our cat pose. I could never remember which one was cat and which one was cow. And then someone said that if you imagine like a little black Halloween cat, that's your cat. Moving with the breath. And then when you're ready, we'll bring it back to center. And we're going to find our thread the needle pose. So I like to take the knees a little bit wider here, so bringing the big toes back together and then bringing the knees a little bit wider. We're going to bring our left palm to the center of our mat. On an inhale, we'll reach forward with the right fingertips, maybe give them a little bit of a wiggle, and then exhale, we thread that right arm underneath the left, and we find our thread the needle. So you've got that left palm in front of you for support. You can stay here pressing into that left palm, but just check in with the hips first. Make sure they're nice and level. You might notice that that left hip really wants to lift here. We're going to level the hips out. Pressing into the left palm. Or you might like to lift it up and then just pressing that left arm back a little bit more of a twist through the upper spine. Just checking in with how it feels. And then on an exhale, we'll unravel, come back to center, and take it to the other side. So we'll bring the right palm to the center of our mat this time. Inhale, we reach the left hand forward, give the fingertips a little bit of a wiggle, and then exhale, we thread it through, coming down onto the left side of our body. This time you've got that right palm in front of you for support. Check in with the hips. Make sure that right hip is level with the left. So you might need to adjust a little bit here. And then either staying here, or you might like to reach that right hand up and then press the arm back for a little bit more opening through the chest here. And then on an exhale, we'll start to unravel, making our way back to our tabletop. We'll take another couple cat and cows, just moving with the breath here, just so that you can check in with how you feel here. So maybe noticing how the left side feels compared to the right. You might feel a little bit more open through the chest now. And then when you're ready, we're going to make our way to our first downward facing dog of our practice today. So from our tabletop, we're going to walk the hands forward an inch or two, tuck the toes under, and then press to lift the knees away from our mat and send the hips back. So just pedaling out the feet when you get there, breathing into the backs of your legs. My legs are feeling a little bit tight today, so you might like to bring a little bit of a bend into the knees. Nice and strong through the arms. So we're pressing through those arms, pressing the chest back towards the tops of the thighs. Nice and long through the spine here. So we're imagining a nice long line from the top of the head right down to the tailbone. Finding a little bit of movement, connecting with the breath, and then finding a little bit of stillness. And then on your next inhale, we're going to look forward between the hands, bend through the knees, and we're going to go for a really nice slow walk up towards the top of our mat. So again, you can give those knees a nice generous bend here. They don't need to straighten as long as you can breathe into the backs of those legs and feel that really nice deep stretch. When you bring a little bend into the knees as well, it'll help you release through the lower back. So if you've been feeling a little bit tight there, give those knees a nice bend. And then just hanging out here in our forward fold for a moment. Swaying the head a little bit from side to side. And then on an inhale, we're going to find our halfway lift. So tracing the fingertip up the front of the legs, we get nice and flat through the spine at about halfway. So you can bring one hand to the belly and one to the lower spine. Just check in, flattening out. You might need to curl that tailbone under a little bit. We draw the shoulders away from the ears. Again, keep that nice bend into the knees. Nice deep breath in, we inhale. And exhale, round it forward, back into our forward fold. Grounding down through the feet, so pressing into all 10 toes, all four corners of each feet. We tuck the chin in towards the chest and we roll it all the way up to standing. Take a moment when you get there, letting the head and the neck come up last. Closing down the eyes in your Tadasana here. Checking in with how you feel and bringing that attention back to the breath. Let the shoulders melt down away from the ears. You've got that nice connection with the earth beneath you, drawing your energy upwards. We've got that nice long line from the top of the head right down to the tailbone again here. And then let's bring a little bit of a bounce into the knees, a little bit of a bend. On an inhale, we're going to reach the hands up and overhead. And on an exhale, let's find our forward fold. Inhale, we find our halfway lift. And exhale, we round it forward. This time, let's walk the big toes together, a little bit of space between the heels. We're going to bring our belly to the tops of the thighs and swim those hands back, almost like you're pressing into a table or something here. We're about to go into chair pose, table and chairs. That doesn't even make sense. So we're going to start to lift the chest, so flatten out through the spine here. We're sinking the hips down, reaching back with the fingertips towards the back edge of the mat. And we find our breath again. We've got those shoulders drawing away from the ears. You might start to notice a little bit of heat, a little shaking through the legs here. See if you can sink a little bit deeper. And then for a breath, let's reach the hands up and forward. Find the breath. And then exhale back to our forward fold. On an inhale, we're going to find that halfway lift again. Exhale, we fold it forward. On our next inhale, ground down through the feet, and we roll it all the way up to standing. Let the head and the neck come up last. Find your Tadasana. Closing down the eyes or just softening the gaze. Coming back to the breath. And check in with how you feel. And then from here, we're going to start to build our flow a little bit. So again, bring that little bit of a bounce into the knees. On an inhale, we reach up and overhead, and exhale, bend the knees. We come down through center. Plant the palms. We step it back to plank for a breath. Draw the shoulders away from the ears, really flattening out from the flattening out through the spine. We shift the weight forward, and exhale, we're going to lower all the way down to the belly. You can drop the knees if you need to here. On an inhale, we find that heart opener, pressing the chest forward, draw the shoulder blades back. And exhale, we lower, pressing up through tabletop. We find our second downward facing dog. Pedaling out through the feet again here. Finding a little bit of movement. And then finding stillness. Breathing into the backs of the legs. And then when you're ready, we're going to ground down through the left heel. Inhale, reaching the right foot up, our three-legged dog. On an exhale, we draw that right knee in towards the chest and then step it forward between the hands. On our next inhale, we're going to find our high lunge. So we're going to inhale, lift the fingertips away from the mat. We start to reach them up towards the sky. High lunge. On our exhale, we're going to find our arrowhead. So send the chest forward and bring those arms back in line with that back leg. So parallel with our back leg. Nice generous bend into that front right knee. From here, this is where we're going to change directions a little bit. So from our arrowhead with our chest leaning forward, we're going to link the thumbs and make like a little butterfly or a bird. We're going to reach the hands up and overhead, straighten through that right knee. So we're coming to turn to the side of our mat, the left side of our mat, and we're going to frame that left foot and find our low lunge on the other side. That was a lot of words and I didn't have enough breath. So we're framing that left foot in our low lunge on the other side. When you get there, we're going to plant the right palm. Inhale, lift that left hand up towards the sky, and we're going to find our high lunge with a twist from here. So start to lift through those right fingertips. We find our high lunge with a twist here. So checking in with the legs, we want to make sure that that left knee is stacked above the left heel. Twisting through the spine. Inhale, we're going to find that high lunge. So coming to look forward past that left knee. And exhale, we open out into our warrior two. Check in with the legs again here. They should have warmed up a little bit now. Find the breath. Then we're going to flip that left palm, reach the fingertips forward, up and back. We find our peaceful warrior. Breathing into the left side body. And then from here, we're going to find our extended side angle. So we're going to bring that left elbow to the left knee. Reach the right fingertips forward. And then we're going to make our way back to the front of our mat from here. So we're going to drop that right hand down. Turn the left toes back to the side of the mat. We walk it back around. We find our low lunge on this side. So plant the left palm. Inhale, reach the right hand up towards the sky. Exhale, we bring it back down and step that right foot back into our plank. Take a nice deep breath here. And exhale, we lower it down. Inhale, find your heart opener. And exhale, we release and we're going to send it back into our child's pose. So bringing the knees together, feet together, we walk the hands out nice and long. Bring the forehead to your mat. Checking in with how you feel. Noticing how you feel on the right side compared to the left side. And then when you're ready, you can stay here for as long as you would like to, but when you do feel ready, we're going to come back to our tabletop, tuck the toes under, walk the hands forward a little bit, and we find our downward facing dog. Again, walk out the feet a little bit, find some movement. And find a little bit of stillness. And when you're ready, we're going to ground down through the right heel, lift through the left foot, three-legged dog. On an exhale, draw that left knee in towards the chest. We step it forward between the hands into our low lunge. From here, we're going to find our high lunge, so power up through the legs. We lift the fingertips away from the mat, reach them up towards the sky. On an exhale, we find our arrowhead. Send the chest forward. Hands come back parallel with that back leg. Seeing if you can bring a nice bend into that left knee. And here's where we find our little birdie, and we're going to change direction. So linking the thumbs, we bring the hands up and overhead. Turn those right toes to the side of the mat. You might notice a little shake through the legs. I just got a little bit of a shake through mine. We're going to frame the right foot at the back edge of our mat. So turning to the left edge of our mat this time, we find the back of our mat, frame that left foot. On an inhale, we find our twist. So plant the left palm, reach the right hand up towards the sky. And then slowly we're going to draw the left fingertips away from the mat. You might need to adjust the feet a little bit here. We find our twist. Nice generous bend into that right knee this time. And when you're ready, we'll find our warrior two. So inhale back to high lunge. Exhale, we find our warrior two. We're looking out over at the left side of our mat this time. So body is opened out to the left side. We're looking towards the back edge of our mat. Nice generous bend into that right knee. We find our peaceful warrior. Flip the right palm. Send the fingertips forward, up and back. Breathing into the right side body. And on an exhale, we find our extended side angle. We bring the right elbow to the right knee. Reach the left fingertips towards the back of your mat. And then we're going to make our way back towards the front of our mat. So drop those left fingertips down. We're coming through center. Turn those right toes back towards the left side of your mat. And then we frame the right foot at the back, at the front of the mat. Plant the right palm. Inhale, we reach the left hand up towards the sky. And exhale, we frame that left foot. Step it back to plank. Find your plank nice and long through the spine. Drawing the shoulders away from the ears. And then on an exhale, we come all the way down onto the belly. Inhale, we lift the chest. Shoulder blades are drawing back together. Exhale, we lower and we press it back to our child's pose. I hope that you found your way through that flow, because I do think that I used left and rights in the wrong spot. I think this is the right edge of our mat, not the left. But I hope that you worked it out a little bit and you got through the flow. And now we find our child's pose, coming back to the breath. Again, thinking of expansion with our inhale. And exhale, feeling the body melt down towards the mat. Letting go of any tension. And we'll take one more breath here. And then slowly make our way back to our tabletop. We'll cross one heel over the other, come back through seated, and we'll make our way to lie down. Bend the knees when you get there. You might like to take a little windscreen wiper, drop the knees down to one side, and then over to the other. Letting the breath return to normal. Taking any movements that you feel like you need in your body. I feel like my breath's only starting to return to normal now. I've been a little bit sick this last week, so I'm a little bit out of breath. And then let's bring the knees back to center. We'll find our reclined pigeon. So let's cross that right ankle in front of the left knee, thread the hands through behind that left leg, and we draw both legs in towards the chest. Toes are drawing back towards the knees just to support the toes are drawing back towards the knees to support the knees a little bit here. Protect those joints. Find the breath. Close down the eyes. And then exhale, we'll release and unravel, take it to the other side. So we'll cross the left heel over the front of the right knee this time. Thread the hands behind that right leg and then draw both legs in towards the chest. Press that left knee away from the body. Nice and active through the toes. So just taking a moment to set yourself up. Then close down the eyes and find the breath again. On an exhale, we'll release the legs and unravel. From here, we're going to bring the feet together into our Supta Baddha Konasana. So feet together, we drop the knees to either side. You can let the hands rest on the belly, maybe one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart space, or just hands out to the side. Whatever feels best for you here. I'm going to take a couple of rounds of nice long deep breaths here before we find our Savasana. And you can stay here for a little while longer if you would like to. Otherwise, we're going to make our way to our Shavasana. So drawing the knees back in, we'll send the legs out nice and long. Arms to either side, palms facing up. You might like to lift the chest and draw the shoulder blades down a little bit more. Getting out any little wiggly movement so you can find stillness in your Shavasana. Letting your body get really nice and heavy here. Noticing if there's anywhere else that you can release any tension, relax a little bit more. Melting down towards your mat with each exhale. And I would encourage you to stay here in your Shavasana for at least a couple of minutes. So that's where I'm going to leave you. I hope you have an amazing day after this practice. I hope you're feeling really good after it. And bringing the palms together at heart space. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.